Dear watcher, my name is Marcel Brunner. I'm working for EMC as a V specialist. In this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the File Management Appliance, referred to as FMA, later on into a productive environment. This is the 5th tutorial of a series of 5 and concludes the series. Back in the FMA GUI, I'm scheduling a task for archiving with the condition to run it immediately. So I'm going to select my home dir, Brunner Marcel, test data, products. I'm going to choose Celerra and I click OK because these are the file candidates I want to see for archiving. I'm going to save the task with, say, run now. And here you are presented with a list of options, like to run the simulation, or like to look at archiving, multi-tier stop, stop scanning, delete orphans, delete stop, backup, NAS migration. So a lot of use cases for the scheduling that will just show you one of the selected options. I'm going to hit refresh on the list to see whether my first archiving job has been finished or not. It's done at the moment. I'm going to look at the summary. At the logs I'm presented that the number of file stops are 19. I'm having a look at the detailed list and it says what it has archived. I'm going to look back at the log. Going to have a look from the end user perspective on how the archived files look like. You see them with a little clock in the end. And I'm going to choose the attributes for file archiving so I can see whether an object has been archived or not. If the attribute says archived offline, that's a file that's been archived. And in order to check that this is really done, I'm going to hit properties and have a look at the size on disk and the size of the file itself. The size on disk says 8 kilobytes, it's archived. I'm going to open a file in order if the retrieval is working. Yes, it is working. It does not recall the files, however, to the primary file system, so it stays within the secondary file system or tertiary file system, depending on the configuration that you've done. And now we are looking at file handling on whether it is possible to rename a file. I'm going to select one, KPMG report, and I put in another name, exam report, hit OK. And since that is working, I'm going to move the file into another folder in order to see whether it will open up or not. First checking the size on disk again. It has not been recalled, so it's still archived. I'm going to open it. It is working. That's great. That's what I expect as an end user, right? Going back to my folder Celerra, and I'm going to select a file, a zip file, and I delete it because I don't need that data anymore. That's what I think, first off. Later on, it turns out that I need the file again, so I'm going to pick up the phone, call my File Management Appliance administrator, and tell him, hey, I got a file that I need and want back. But first off, let's take a look at archived files, at the reports. You can have beautiful reports in here. You're going to select your file server and go and simply click on the report, and you're presented with graphics, images. You can export those images to report against files that have been archived. You see the most important files. You can also define the extensions, whether it be Excel, Word documents, or whatever you like. I'm going to have a look at my archived file list because I want to ultimately retrieve that file, that zip file that I accidentally deleted. So I'm going to browse for my user, products, I'm going back to my folder Celerra within the FMA GUI, and I say get list. Get me what's been archived. And let's have a look if I find that zip file that I just recently deleted. Yes, there it is. I click the checkbox and I simply say recover stop file. I can recover a stop file with write permission that would recall it to the primary file system. But in that case, I only recover the stop. Going back to my Celerra folder, I'll have a look whether the file is there or not. I hit refresh. It's there again. Trying to open it in order to prove it. Yes, there it is. Excellent. That worked out nicely. This concludes the fifth and last part of the video tutorial for FMA. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.